I'm missing someone? Okay. Um, so tonight's class, the learning is dedicated to Louis Nishmas, Nachum Ben David, and also Dave Hubbard. May his memory be a blessing. And also our dear classmate Sandy is feeling under the weather down there where she is, down south. And so we hope she has a refuah shlema. Okay, I'm going to switch over to the big screen. Okay, so um, first of all, I can't remember who asked me last week about whether Gentiles receive blessings or only bounty. So there's a lot to this answer. So rather than take too much time with it, I'll just tell you in brief that when Gentiles follow the Noahide laws and are supportive of the children of Israel, they do receive brachas in the merit of the Bnei Yisrael. It's a little more complicated than that, but that's the short answer from Reb Moish, my husband. And the long answer, whoever asked me last week, you could just email me or call me and I'll discuss it. Okay? All right. Okay, where are we? Oh, so I also want to talk briefly about last week we mentioned our personal Torah. And I want to clarify that because apparently I was not clear enough. Our personal Torah doesn't mean that we make up the Torah. Our personal Torah means that we follow the Torah in the way and expression that is uniquely ours. For example, people emphasize different avodas, different services of Hashem, different mitzvahs. Some people spend a lot of time in chesed, in activities that help others, some more time perhaps in prayer. Some people, the way they relate to the Torah is more intellectual, some more emotional, and so on and so forth. That's what that discussion was about, not that we write our own Torah as we see fit. Okay. All right. So we're going to continue. And tonight we're going to, there are a lot of concepts in AYEH that Rebbe Nachman covered, because AYEH is one of the richest sources of ideas about who we are and our relationship with Hashem in all of Likutei Moharan. It's really a powerhouse of complex and important ideas, and they're all related to tshuva, to returning to Hashem, returning to who we really are as human beings. And tonight we're going to focus on a few things. The first we find in this week's Parsha. And I'm going to begin, this week's Parsha is Mishpatim. And in Mishpatim, we learn a lot of laws. Okay, Mishpat is justice and laws, or the law, and Mishpatim are laws. And in one parak it says, Ki sikne eved ivri, if you buy a Hebrew slave, okay, he's going to serve you for 6 years, and then in the 7th year, he's going to go free. What is this about, and how does this relate to AYEH? So what it's actually about is the concept of Shabbos, okay? Because the 6 years relates to the 6 days of the week where we are like, each of us is like an Eved, we're like a slave or a servant. And the 7th year, the 7th day, we go free, okay? We no longer have to toil in the material world. Now, all slavery, okay, all slavery, the whole world is essentially in slavery, okay? And all slavery is a sign of not being able to live up to our full potential. And it's a sign that we're hamstringed. There's only so much we can do. We have to be focused on what's going to happen next, what's going to happen next, what's going to happen next. So slavery is a function of time. But Shabbos, okay, is the only true freedom we have, because Shabbos is, you've heard the expression, an oasis in time. In the same way that Jerusalem is to space, okay, to the whole world, an oasis in the world, an oasis of holiness, Shabbos is an oasis in the week. And all the holiness in Shabbos is actually the holiness, the source of holiness for everything that goes on in the world. It's like a conduit to all the Kedusha of the world. Now, we spoke before about the hidden utterance, if you recall. And Shabbos is connected to the idea of that holiness that comes without being able to reveal it fully in a way. However, we know that because Shabbos is the source of all holiness, okay, and is the purpose of creation. Remember, we learned that kavod, that Hashem's honor is the purpose of creation. Shabbos also, because it's the same concept, it's a related concept, is also the purpose of creation. And when we observe the Shabbos, what happens? We're tapping into that pipeline of Hashem's glory and Hashem's and Kedusha and holiness. Okay? So this week's Parsha expresses the idea that in order to be free, in order not to be a slave, we have to look away from the slog that we do day to day to day. Now, that slog isn't just earning a living, getting on the subway, getting in your car, hammering a nail, answering a phone, typing an email, okay? As sloggy as that is, okay? The slog is the weekday where our choices are limited because we have to provide food. We have to earn our money or prepare our food, and so on and so forth. In other words, during the week, we're very busy with matters of sustenance. Also, spiritually, during the week, we're focused on different things than we are on Shabbos. Okay, now, Shabbos is something else also. Shabbos gives us a refresher course each week in Emunah, in faith. Because all week long, we live as if we don't have faith, okay? Because we go to work in order to get that paycheck. On Shabbos is the true and only way to fully express our emunah. We don't work, okay? We don't cook. It's true that we're praying, and it's true that we're not just sitting around like slugs. We're busy. We're with people. We're having meals. We're davening. We're singing, and so on and so forth. But we're not worried about sustenance. It takes emunah to the ultimate level. Without Shabbos, the source for emunah is never as strong as with Shabbos. Because why? We know. We're supposed to bring our Shabbos into the work week. We're supposed to carry it through into the work week. So that every day, okay, we take a little bit of the holiness of Shabbos, okay, and that refreshes us. There's an old expression, just as more than the Jews kept Shabbos, Shabbos kept the Jews. Okay? Shabbos keeps us. Shabbos guards us. What does it guard us from? Guards us from forgetting about our individual purpose. Because our individual purpose, I promise you, even though we're not allowed to make a promise, I promise you our individual purpose isn't to be slaves. Our individual purpose is to connect with our higher self, our higher power. And that higher power connects to Hashem. Okay. So, Rebbe Nachman, it's really beautiful. He writes extensively in Likutei Halachos about the relationship between AYEH and Shabbos. But you should know that Azamra, okay, for all of you who were here last semester or who already know Azamra, the other foundational lesson in Breslov, also relates to Shabbos. In what way? So we're going to talk about that a little bit tonight, okay? I am going to I'm going to take from this teaching because it's like really heavy and complicated, and I'm going to pull pieces of it that have real practical application and meaning, okay? So if you want more detailed study, I can point you in the right direction. You can contact me later and I'll tell you where to go. Okay, so Azamra and AYEH are essential to different aspects, okay, of our personal paths. And we all have to have both. You can't have one without the other. People make the mistake. They think you can, but you actually can't. Azamra, in short, in brief, Azamra is where, no matter what's going on, we look for the good in other people and in ourselves. We don't tear ourselves apart, okay? We don't beat ourselves up. We focus on the good. We focus on the good deeds we do. We focus on the mitzvahs we do and other people as well. And when we do that, okay, that is one boundary of Shabbos. I'm going to explain in a minute what that means. The other side of Shabbos is AYEH. What is AYEH? AYEH is where we're down, we have tremendous doubts and confusion, and instead of thinking those thoughts that are they're either self-defeating or they're thoughts that are where we throw up our hands and say, forget everything, I'm done with this, or they're thoughts that we say, I'm not sure if I even believe in Hashem, chas v'shalom, okay? People have these thoughts, okay? They're real thoughts. Some of the greatest tzaddikim have had moments, okay, where they've teetered. It happens. AYEH is where even in the midst of that terrible doubt and inner struggle, we cry out to Hashem, AYEH makom kavoda. Where are you, Hashem? Where's the place of your kavod? Where are you? Okay, in this mess. I can't see you. I don't feel you. I can't even imagine that you're here, but I'm turning to you. Help me. Okay, that's the other boundary of Shabbos. So in brief, in the halachas of Shabbos, we have something called a techum. A techum is the boundary, okay, in which a person can travel on Shabbos, on foot, of course, not in a car. And this techum, okay, is related to Azamra and AYEH in a few ways. The first way is that Azamra and AYEH begin with the letter, the os, aleph. And a techum, okay, we can't travel 2,000, okay, 2,000, I can't remember the name of the term, whatever it is, cubits beyond the techum. 1,000 in Hebrew is elef, which is the same consonant as aleph, which of course means that it's a related word, okay? Rebbe Nachman goes deeper and he explains. So how do we know what the techum is, and can we extend it, and so on and so forth? So how do we set up these Shabbos boundaries? So we can't go beyond a certain way in each direction, on each side of the town we live in. If, for example, you want to be in a town, you want to go somewhere outside the boundary, what you do before Shabbos is you take a plate of food and you place that cooked food that you're going to use on Shabbos. Most of you will recognize this from Yontif. We do this on Yontif personally. But we place it in our refrigerators. It's a different kind of erut. And we make this boundary marker. Why? because then that food that we're going to use on Shabbos, we can go 2,000 cubits beyond that. We've extended our personal community space. Okay? I hope this isn't too confusing. I don't want to go too much into the halachas of this, but I do want to give an overview because it's important. Okay. What a Zamra and AYEH do is they hold us within the boundaries in a spiritual manifestation of the Shabbos boundaries. They're holding us in. They're supporting us. Those boundaries aren't a fence to keep us locked in. The boundaries are there because it's like the narrow bridge, okay? The Gesher Tzarma, the very narrow bridge. We need the guide rails to hang on to. We need those boundaries, okay? We don't want the bridge to go on forever. We want one side and the other, okay? What a Zamra does is it gives us, okay, it gives us the ability to tap into one major aspect of Shabbos, and AYEH gives us the ability to tap into the other major aspect. What are these aspects? Okay. So we're going to use some terms that you've heard before, most likely. If I have to explain the terms, you may know what they are, but we need to explain them for those that don't, okay? And we also need to refresh our memories so that we apply them correctly to Rebbe Nachman's explanation of the Shabbos Techum and what it has to do with the Zamra and AYEH. So we're going to begin with a Zamra, okay? Again, go back last semester. You can look at my overview of a Zamra. You can learn it line by line in the text, however you want. A Zamra is mainly about seeking out the good, sifting through the bad, and creating a melody, so to speak, of good notes or good points, okay, which corresponds to, okay, it corresponds to a part of creation, the creation process described by the Arizal in Kabbalah. And that part is, okay, does anybody know? Shaviras HaKelim, the shattering of the vessels. When we engage in a Zamra, okay, and Shabbos, it's necessary to do both. Otherwise, one without the other, we're missing something, okay? When we engage in both, what happens is we are living out, recreating, and even performing tikkunim for the shattering of the vessels. What is the shattering of the vessels? Okay, in brief, and Chaya Rivka talk, because it's so really above our heads. So I'm going to tell you at my level, which fortunately is pretty down there and accessible for everybody, I think. The shattering of the vessels is when Hashem created the world. In order to create the world, okay, I'm going to go over this briefly. In order to create the world, everything's filled with Hashem because Hashem sustains all of creation. We know that. We know that from this semester, okay? When he created the world, he withdrew, okay, part of himself, okay, so to speak, part of himself. He withdrew his light. He concealed his light. And this constriction, we call it tzimtzum. And in this constriction, okay, there, in that whole form that took place, there were the spheros, okay, the Sephirotic attributes, and each one is made up of a vessel and a light, which is really a brighter light and a less light. And what happened was the light, okay, the vessel shattered, because remember, Hashem's presence was withdrawn. They shattered, okay? And the husks, because they couldn't contain that light, the husks of this shattering, these sparks, fell all over creation. And what we do as we live the story of our lives, which when I hear this, I always think it really is such a story. We're writing a story with our lives. It's amazing. What we're doing is we are collecting and repairing and lifting up, elevating these fallen pieces. We're choosing also the good, and when we choose the good, we're releasing the klipos, the husks. Okay, if you don't get it completely, that's okay. I don't get it completely either. It's a little hard to explain, but the point is that as we go around in our lives and we choose something good versus something not good, because remember, creation and Hashem concealing his light gives us the opportunity for free will. With only Hashem's eternal light, there would be no creation and no choice for free will. There has to be that concealment in order for us to make a choice between concealment and light. As we go around choosing the good in the Zamra, okay, this is the path of the Zamra. I choose this good. I see this good. I identify this good. I see that you did a mitzvah. I see that no matter what's going on in you, you are basically someone who loves Hashem. I see this about you. I see that about you. And I see it about myself. And every time we do a mitzvah, we are enacting the act of a Zamra. A Zamra is more than about just what we think, feel, and choose. It's the actual actions. Okay. Before I continue, does everybody get this so far? Let me know. Okay, I should say the other way. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. All right, I don't see anything. I see typing, but nothing's coming through. Yes, what about the Chazan? What is that? Okay. So the Chazan is the cantor, and that is a part of that's a part of a Zamra. And if you go back to the last lesson, you go through a Zamra, okay, you will learn about it. But it's going to take us a little off track at this point in the lesson. However, ultimately, when we get to the next point, you can bring it in again. You can ask me again, okay, and remind me, or I'll look up and I'll see the Chazan and I'll explain to you how it ties in, because it does tie in. Okay. Okay, good. Okay, so that's the Azamra path. And Shabbos is the day for Azamra. It's also the day for AYEH, we'll get there, but it's the day for Azamra. Okay. We know the selections we make on Shabbos, okay? We choose to be happy on Shabbos. It's a choice. It isn't a passive experience. Okay, if things go well, I'll be happy. And if they don't go the way I like, I won't be happy. No. Azamra calls upon us, our personal, okay, empowers us to choose to be happy on Shabbos, to choose to experience that simcha of Shabbos, to choose within the beautiful palace and structure of how Shabbos operates, okay, to walk through that palace of glory, really, and experience Shabbos with joy. It's a choice. No matter what's going on, there are people who find themselves literally on a desert island and they have a beautiful Shabbos. We know stories about the tzaddikim, okay, and other people too, people in the concentration camps, okay, who made Shabbos. They had no lech, they had no candles, they had no challah, okay. They had to work, they had no prayer, they had no shoes, they had no Shabbos clothes, they had no hot shower that you have to take before Shabbos. They had no family, okay, but they lost their family. And there are people who found a nugget to hang on to in these camps of Shabbos. I met one such woman many years ago. Her name is Mrs. Newhouse. She lives in Mount Kisco, New York. She and her husband opened a kosher chicken farm and an egg farm many years ago. I actually met her 15 years ago. She was very elderly then. I met her, she and I shared a ride somewhere. And we were driving in the car and we were talking. And there's so many things to this story. I could tell a story for every class, but I'll tell this one. She was telling me about being in the camps, how she lost her family in the camps, okay? And she was in Auschwitz. And she told me that even in Auschwitz, she was happy. Now, I was looking at her, and she was telling me the truth. She said, Hashem is good, and he was even there in Auschwitz with me. She said, I said the Tehillim I memorized, and my sister was with me, the sister that survived, and I was happy. And I'm happy. I lost my husband a few years ago, and I'm happy. And I have to come to work. She was literally in her 80s, and she was schlepping into the city on the train to work in her brother, somebody's shoe store a few days a week on 13th Avenue. And she said, I'm happy because Hashem is good, and he gave me life. And how can I not be happy? I heard this 15 years ago. This lady was full of lessons. I heard this 15 years ago. I've never recovered from our conversation. She totally changed my life. She rocked my world because she lived it. She lived. She was the real deal. She walked the walk. Okay. So a Zamra is choosing to see the good no matter what's going on. It really is a choice. As a matter of fact, on Shabbos, it's a halacha. We are not allowed to be depressed on Shabbos. Okay. That's boundary number one, and it's related to going around and picking up, okay, the shattered vessels, to heal them, to elevate the light, and to correct everything, to healing. That's the healing boundary of Shabbos. What's the AYEH boundary of Shabbos? Okay. So this is, there's so much here that I know I'm missing some things. This is where the Chazan actually does come in, because the Chazan is the tzaddik, okay, or the tzaddikim, all the righteous people. So AYEH on Shabbos, the other aspect of Shabbos, relates to another important aspect of creation. Okay, does anybody know what that is? Curious. Okay, no, I don't see anybody. Okay, so that other aspect of creation, okay, is the halal hapanui. Okay, what's the halal hapanui? Okay, that is what the beginning of what we were speaking about before, that constriction. That is the vacated space, the space where Hashem concealed himself from. Okay, it's different than the vessels that we spoke about. Okay, what do I mean? How can Hashem conceal himself from a space, not be in a space? So Hashem had to conceal himself in order to make room for creation, because without him concealing himself, there would be only eternal light. There would be no room for finite beings like me and you. Okay. This vacated space, many of you have heard this term, but it actually has a very personal application. We hear this in these lofty conversations, and we're like, oh yeah, what does that have to do with me? This vacated space is a paradox. Okay, there is no way we can wrap our heads around it. Either Hashem is present, sustaining creation, sustaining what's going on in that space, or he's removed from it. Okay, because we know Hashem has to sustain all of creation, otherwise it doesn't exist. Yet he withdrew from this space in order for us to exist. How is that possible? Either he's there or he's not. He's not, he's not. He's there, he's not. Okay? We can't understand this. This is where a very important aspect of AYEH comes in. This is the aspect of doubt. This is the aspect of confusion. This is the aspect of philosophers. Okay? These kinds of questions, focusing on them, okay, it's considered very noble to do that Western civ. But the problem is that we cannot solve them. We're asking unknowable questions. There's no answer for this. So what happens is okay, is either we make up answers, okay, we make up creation stories, so on and so forth. We make up reasons for existence that don't include a creator. Or else in our own personal lives, what we do is we fall into doubt and despair, and we can't quite make that step towards letting go of what we don't know and accepting we can't know. And that's where faith comes in. Because Emunah can't, if you already know something, you don't need Emunah. I know that today in New York, it is, I was going to say Tuesday, but it's Monday. I know that. I don't need faith to know that. I don't need faith to know that I'm wearing glasses. I know that. Okay? That doesn't require faith. It does require faith, though, to believe that Hashem is so great that he's concerned with creating everything from nothing. Unbelievable, right? The whole universe was created from nothing. We can't even imagine nothing. And even more, bigger faith requirements here is that he loves you and me so much that he's personally involved in every aspect of our life. And he wants a relationship with us. You can't know that. You can feel like you know it, okay? You can believe it, but you can't like logic. There's no formula for that. There's not some kind of algebraic formula that you can answer that in. There is an algebraic formula for how to make glasses, and that there is a mathematical formula that makes a calendar, and that today's Tuesday. Okay. The tzaddik, the chazan, okay, he's really from Azamra, but we're going to borrow him here, Marianne. The tzaddik, the tzaddikim, are able to enter that whole concept, doubt, and come out, the concept of doubt, confusion, philosophy, okay, and come out stronger in faith for it. And more importantly, they're able to give it over to us. That's really what the tzaddik is doing. Is he's giving us Emunah. He's all these lessons that are bringing us closer to Hashem. What is tshuva? Okay, it's coming back to Hashem. It's learning about the mitzvahs, making them a part of our life, making Hashem a bigger part of our life, and so on and so forth. But really, it's about increasing our Emunah, our faith, because with our Emunah, we're increasing our awareness of who we are in this world and our relationship with Hashem in our lives and what we're doing here. AYEH is when you're struggling with jealousy. Okay, you can pick another midos that you don't want to, another midah that you don't want to struggle with. Okay, anger. I picked jealousy. You're struggling with jealousy. You're agonizing over it, and you'd rather continue going over this in your mind, using your own logic to prove why that person's no good that you're jealous of. Okay, and pretending that Hashem's not there. Okay. And acting as if Emunah doesn't exist, you don't have faith, and you don't have to say, Aye makom kavoda. You don't have to turn around and say, Hashem, help me, because I'm living life like you're not there. That's the doubts. There's other doubts as well, but that's one of them. Okay. It's like, Hashem, I went for 40 job interviews over 10 years and I didn't get a job. You know, I'm really doubting that you're there or that you're on my side or that you love me. Okay. Maybe you're not really having a personal relationship with me. Okay. These are tests. They're tests not because we need to take them and then get an A. That's not the kind of tests they are. It's okay if we get a C even. These are tests that teach and instruct as we take them. Okay, so we're going through this. We're going through this confusion, this doubt, this inner turmoil, these periods where we feel really low. We went on our, 40th shidduch date in 6 months. Okay. You've been trying to have a baby for 10 years. You can't pay your bills. You're struggling with your health. Your relationship, your family relationships, they're fractured. Okay. And we have choices. And the choice is, okay, to either find Hashem in the midst of that, call out to Hashem in the midst of that, or not. What are we doing here? The same thing we're doing on Shabbos. We are looking for and expressing, okay, the search for the covet of Hashem. How? By just asking? No, we're not just asking. What we're actually doing is we are living with, okay, the knowledge that even if we don't know and understand, our mission is to act as if and think as if and do as if, okay? Our goal is to express Hashem's covet, His glory, His honor. The more we live like that, okay, the more we plug into that, okay, the more these moments become moments where we're ready for the fight, so to speak. Moments where we say, you know what, I'm being tested. This is even worse than last time, but I got through it last time. I'm going to get through it this time. Because I have a secret weapon. And my secret weapon is AYEH. And Shabbos is about this. Because Shabbos, okay, just like it's about Azama, Shabbos is about finding Hashem, okay, and connecting to Hashem. And Shabbos is about connecting to Hashem's covet, His glory. Shabbos is the total expression of His glory. Remember, the source of creation is Hashem's kavod. Hashem's kavod, that is related to Shabbos. They're connected. They're very similar concepts in the world of in the world of Hasidus. Why? Because we talked about before the end, when you think about the end goal of the world, when Mashiach is revealed, okay, and the Geula comes, and that means that the whole world will sing out and know Hashem's glory, okay? That point in time, what is that point in time? It's Shabbos. Okay, we're told that it will be like a Shabbos. The whole world will be experiencing Shabbos. It's amazing. How does that play out in detail? I don't know. Nobody really knows. But we have to believe and understand that Shabbos isn't this accidental break from our week where we can put up our feet, relax. That's true. We can do that too. We should be relaxing a little. And it doesn't mean a burden of unnecessary structures and rules that are going to hem us in. No, the point is to set up a situation in where we can reveal more of Hashem's glory by expressing our faith, because we're not going out to work. We don't need to go out to work. We believe that creation is exactly as it's supposed to be in this moment in time. Even if things are going wrong, so to speak wrong. Even if you're not having the Shabbos that you planned on having. Even if the person that you're spending Shabbos with and you are having an argument. God forbid, you shouldn't have an argument. You should never have an argument, but it happens. Even if the kids are acting wild. Even if you're spending Shabbos all alone. Even if you're spending Shabbos in Auschwitz like Mrs. Newhouse did. Okay, that's the AYEH. I have more here too. Okay. Questions? Anybody? Comments? So quiet over there. I don't even know who's in class tonight. Let's see. Okay. Hello, everybody. Okay. All right. So I want to talk a little bit more about Shabbos and AYEH. Okay, so Shabbos is also related to another thing. It's related to the actual strength and power of the tzaddikim, okay? That power that the tzaddikim have, okay, to dispel doubts, in case I wasn't clear, I don't think I used the word power, is the same as the power of Shabbos to dispel doubts, okay? Why? Because Shabbos is the ultimate expression of faith. It's the ultimate expression. You're really showing Hashem that you're not playing around. You really have emunah. It's very easy to talk emunah because people do it. It doesn't mean you don't have it, by the way. But when you live emunah, you're living the Shabbos. You're guarding the Shabbos. Because those boundaries, what it looks like on the outside is not really even a drop of what's going on the inside of Shabbos. It's correction after correction after correction. You know, Shabbos is likened to Yom Kippur in some sources because when you have, okay, a Shabbos, it's a real Shabbos, and you really do Shabbos right, which doesn't just mean following the halakhas that we all know, okay, or are learning, but it means not talking chol, not talking mundane talk, trying to really focus on, okay, on Shabbos stuff, words of Torah, song, positive expression, really making that extra effort. When you have a Shabbos like that, you come out of it, you're on high. It's beautiful, okay? When you have a Shabbos in Uman by the Tzaddik, okay, it's out of this world. It's an extra special Shabbos. Rebbe Nachman also said that eating on Shabbos is like fasting, meaning to eat with a kavanah that this is Shabbos. I'm expressing the holiness and the glory of Shabbos, okay? Okay, it's like fasting. It does what fasting does. Shabbos is teshuvah, and AYEH is a form of teshuvah. Okay, all these concepts, they're not just patched on related. They're really deeply related at the root. The root is what? Well, one of the roots is simcha, is joy. Believe it or not, that's really a foundation of both Azamra and AYEH because they both bring us to joy. And the other root is Hashem's glory, which is also related to that expression of joy. Okay? So, questions? I know I'm missing a lot here, but I have more stuff. I have a lot more. Okay. Maybe we'll talk about Shabbos again because there's a lot more in AYEH, but I don't want to, I kind of want to talk about doubts now. So, I want to finish up with what to do with doubts and confusion, okay? If things are going well for you right now and you're not feeling doubts, that's okay. Listen and save it up for the future, okay? Because we all periodically, even when we're on such a spiritual high, periodically we fall into a valley. Why? Okay? Because Rebbe Nachman explains that the valley is necessary, the low is necessary for the sake of going up, okay? The Yerida is necessary for the Aliyah. The descent is necessary for the ascent, okay? We can't just keep going up. We have to have these periodic dips. They serve a lot of different purposes. One of the purposes, okay, is that purpose of revealing Hashem's kavod, AYEH, okay? One of those purposes is when we're in that dip, that we actually are motivated to cry, Hashem, I don't even feel anything right now. I'm so confused. I have so many doubts. Where are you? Where are you? I'm calling out to you, and I'm not even feeling I'm connecting with you at all. I'm just calling out to you because I know I'm supposed to do it. But please help me feel that yearning to connect to you, okay? So these doubts, how do we get through them? How do we get through these confusion, okay? So one of the techniques that I want to share with you is called as if, okay? As if. So whatever's going on with you, even if it's pretty low, acting and speaking as if you don't feel doubt, as if you remember AYEH and you're going to call out to Hashem. What purpose does this serve if your heart's not in it? Okay? So our behavior, okay, our behavior helps us on the inside. So for example, if everybody here can think of a time that they got all dressed up and went to an important event, whether it was a wedding, whether it was an award ceremony, okay, and you wore high heels and you wore your best dress, okay, and it was a very formal event and everybody was wearing very formal clothing, okay, what happens? What happens when we have an event like that? What's changed on the inside? Nothing. Nothing's really changed on the inside. We've changed our garments. However, we act differently because it really does change us on the inside. It affects us, okay? It really affects us. We know that we're not going to put our feet up on the chair when we're in an event like that. Maybe at home we'll put our feet up on the sofa. But when we're at an event like that, dressed up, we don't do that, okay? We are acting as if we're not that person that puts the feet up on the sofa, okay? Or you have a child, and you're taking your child to the doctor, and your child's crying because they have to get a shot, okay? They have to get a tetanus shot, let's say. And your child's crying and fearful. And you spent the morning reading up on tetanus shots and you're terrified. Should you do it? Should you not do it? Is there a danger? What is it? Is it make sense to get a shot or not? Could it be harmful? You don't really believe in medicine, but you know tetanus is so serious. And inside you're a jumble of nerves, and you take your screaming 7-year-old who's crying hysterically for a series of shots or shot. You want to be screaming and crying. You don't want to see your child get hurt. You also are reacting to your child's fear. You also yourself aren't sure about the tetanus shot. What do? You want to give your child chizuk. You want to encourage them. You want to show them that there's nothing to be afraid of. So what do? You act as if, oh, we're going to go to the doctor's, and the shot's going to be a little pinch. It'll be over in 2 seconds, and when you're done, I'm going to take you out for ice cream. Isn't this fun? Okay. You don't go, I'm scared too. We don't do that. We don't do that to a child, okay? Because it's going to make it worse. That's another as if. We act as if we're calm, cool, and collected, okay? With AYEH, as if is really important. It means that even if we're terrified, we're angry, we're confused, we're feeling doubt, we're feeling jealousy, we're feeling all kinds of whatever emotions that are not fun, okay? What do? We act as if we're searching for Hashem in this situation, even if we don't want to. Because the truth is, the pull of the Yetzer Hara is so strong that sometimes we'd rather go over that negative situation in our heads again and again and again and again. We think our seichel, remember the first class of the semester? We think our intellect is going to sort through things. It's not going to sort through things. You're not going to figure it out, okay? You have to go as if. Where are you in this, Hashem? I'm going to talk to you, Hashem. I'm going to talk to you as if I really want to connect you right now, when really what I want to do is figure out in my head what I want to say to that person, or figure out in my head a way to avoid having these doubts and just pretending the whole thing doesn't exist, and figuring out like how to avoid remembering all those things that I did that I don't want to remember and I don't want to deal with, so on and so forth. I'm going to act as if. What happens? When you act as if in your life, and you ask Hashem, okay, you ask Hashem, where are you in this situation? Find something very amazing. First of all, if you say it enough, you may have to say it 5 times, or think it 5 times or 10 times. you will come to believe that you're asking sincerely. Additionally, you're going to be making, okay, a keli, your own vessel. And into that vessel, okay, into that space that can hold, okay, you've said, I'm pushing my intellect aside. I'm going to trust in what the tzaddikim say, and I'm going to turn to you. And Hashem is going to help you. Hashem's going to help you. It's guaranteed. I don't know the path that help will take, but I know that Hashem's going to help you. How do I know? Because Hashem's always helping us. If we open our eyes, we can see it. Okay. He might help you by sending you a thought that's going to show you how you should really be approaching a situation. Or he might help you, okay, by giving you a little spur of inspiration. Or he might help you by changing a situation so your doubts no longer bother you, and the emunah that you felt was lacking just suddenly pops into place, and you're thinking about Hashem a lot more and about the negative stuff a lot less. Okay? He may give you an insight. That insight might be, it's not other people. Other people are just agents of Hashem. It's not even me. Okay? It's not even me. Okay? I'm doing what a Jew should do. I'm turning to Hashem and I'm asking where he is in this situation. That's what my Rebbe told me to do. That's what the tzaddikim, all the tzaddikim told us to do. Moshe Rabbeinu also told us to do. Okay? It doesn't always take the form that we want it to. Rebbe Nachman says when we speak in his Vodidus to Hashem and we ask Hashem for help, okay, we don't have to worry about the details. Hashem, I want to win $4.6 million in the lottery, and I'm going to pay my bills here, and then I'm going to give this much tzedakah, and then I'm going to buy that house that I saw in the paper, and then what I'd like to do with that money is this, and okay. Or I want that job, and that's the job I want. It's the only job I want. Okay. We don't know all the details. We are allowed to daven for specific things. I'm not saying we're not. But what I'm saying is let's not box Hashem in. Okay? Let his help. Hashem's a little smarter than us, maybe. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's smarter than us. Let him decide the form of that help. Okay? Unless you're really sure, for some reason you have superpowers, and your superpower is, I know exactly what's good for me all the time. Okay. The truth is that if you do Hisbodedus regularly, you will have a better idea of what's good for you all the time. It's usually what's happening at that very moment in time, but not always. You may have some ideas and some plans that are good to work on and good to go with. Okay. That's part of AYEH. Okay, there's a lot more. There's so much in AYEH. It's honestly, you could just spend a year or two learning it. I do want to touch maybe a little more on Shabbos next time. Next time, I think I also want to talk more about some of the other aspects of AYEH we didn't cover, okay, which will be a surprise because I haven't chosen which ones yet. There's too much for the semester, but we'll figure it out. Now, if anybody has any questions, I'll answer them. It was another very quiet, questionless class, no discussion. Comments, questions? Is next week the last class? I don't know. What class is this week? It's a good question. I don't know, Ora Simcha. I'm so sorry. Okay, if we go to I'm not going to go to the course. I should, the problem is I have no excuse. Other teachers have I have no excuse because I helped plan the semester. I should know this. I don't remember. Okay, good. I'm glad, Michal. I'm glad you feel inspired. Look, guys, we're all in this together. The whole world's in this story together, okay? You're not alone. Next week's the last one? Thank you, Cynthia. Okay. So you're not alone. Hashem's not only with you, but, when you're in a class together learning with people, even if you're not in the same room, and we're not in the same room, you are all connected. whatever Torah you're learning together with someone, okay? Whatever Torah you're learning with someone, you're all connected. There's a like an energy there. You go home, you're all davening on the same wavelength. You're bringing good stuff into the world. Or Simcha has a question or a statement. Can we say that AYEH leads us to his bodhis, meaning we should call out to Hashem all the time, even times of immense joy? Okay. So we should call out to Hashem all the time, sure. Especially in times of immense joy. We shouldn't forget Hashem. As a matter of fact, Rebbe Nachman says it's easier to call out to Hashem when you're feeling joyful. It's much easier. When you're really having authentic joy, holy joy, definitely call out to Hashem. You're going to feel it. Does AYEH lead to that? I don't know. Maybe if you keep, every time you're in a low, you're calling out to Hashem, you get in the habit. It's one way to do it. I think it's actually easier to, maybe it's just my nature or something, is to begin from that point of joy and call out to Hashem and then go when you're having the hard times. But the truth is look, most people, okay, Cynthia, okay, I'll answer you in a second, but the truth is I think most people turn to Hashem in life. They say that Hashem has to give us that little spark to turn to him. I don't know what the truth is. I think a lot of people turn to Hashem when they are going through hard times. I think so. But I don't know that that's everybody. I don't want to make a sweeping statement. I think we all come to Hashem individually, in our own personal Torah, like we started the class, whatever our own personal unique predilections are. Cynthia says I lied. The course says the 19th. Okay, so that's 2 more weeks. Cynthia, you didn't lie. Okay, you didn't lie. You miscalculated. You did not lie. Okay? All right, everybody. Listen, I hope you have a great week. It's good to see. So we have 2 more classes. There's so much to get through. A lot of topics in AYEH, tons of written material in Likutei Halakas that I have to plow through with very difficult. Okay. So Marianne says one more thing. Shulamit Michal, you're welcome. Just beautiful. Thank you so much for all you shared. I went through the what if this morning. I decided. Oh, guys, if you haven't left yet, let's hear what Marianne has to say. She says, just beautiful. Thank you so much for all you shared. I went through the what if this morning. I decided I was just going to push my doubts aside and focus on what I know Hashem wants me to do. But I wasn't sure if that was the right thing to do, but you answered that. If you know what Hashem wants you to do, how do we know what Hashem wants us to do? We can talk about that next week. Marianne, hold that thought, and we'll talk about it next week. It's a really good starting point. You're welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here. I enjoyed working through this with you. Have a great week. Bye, Heidi. Bye, everybody. I don't know who I missed, but bye, everybody. Have a great week.